Welcome and hello once again. This is Bob Dennis talking to Aaron Coffey, and we're going to do a real brief session here where Aaron's going to describe some self-experiments he's been doing with some pretty good outcomes.
Yeah, thanks, Dr. Dennis. So basically, what I want to talk about, last video we talked about the acupressure stuff. So if you haven't heard about that, you can go back and check the other one. Talked about it in pretty great depth. This time around, I'd like to talk more about the actual application that I have with MicroPulse on me and the different uses I've already described. I won't go into again, those in the previous videos. But basically, one of the things I've been doing, and Dr. Dennis, we have talked about this, not experts on the medical side at all. I'm just I guess I'm a self-hacker, I guess is what they call that now. But basically, one of the things that I've done, and I've showed some of y'all this before, I got one of these things from Amazon. It's I think it's called a Body Back Buddy or whatever. I love this thing. They have a small one and a big one. This is the junior size one. Why I like it is because I've taken my coils and put them inside of Velcro and basically Velcroed them together. So I probably could pull them apart still, but I've used them so much that the glue is starting to get all gummy on the side. So basically now the advantage for having done this is that it's a little bit more narrow, but because it's fabric and it gives way, it'll allow me to slide this over one of these trigger point things and it stays in place without falling off. So this was a DIY thing for me. I got really aggravated with having to hold for hours in a specific area. So now I can use leverage and I can basically kind of lean onto it and just kind of put it somewhere, and I can just lean up against it and put pressure against the stick like I'm holding it, and I can leave it there for hours, and I don't have to, I can do other things. I can watch TV and read a book. I can talk to my wife. I can walk around with it because, it's portable, so I can just take it with me too. That looks kind of weird if you go walking around the neighborhood with one of these on, so I don't recommend that. But
I used to be a firefighter, and it looks to me like an implement that I would use to pry someone out of a crushed car.
It's what it looks like, some sort of tool, pry for
it looks like what we used to call a Halligan tool, or we used to bust open doors and stuff. Yeah.
Well, another thing it's just functionally useful is I can use the location of these knobs to kind of wrap the cord out of the way too. And so when I'm actually got it going here, it's just convenient to have one hand on it.
So what is this thing called, and is there a name?
Yeah, the company makes it. I don't know the name, but the product, the trademark product, is called Body Back Buddy. It's like $20 on Amazon.
Body Back Buddy.
Trigger point stick, and they even have a little chart if you get the one that I got that shows you where you should put it. So I was like, well, they might be more experts on trigger point therapy. I don't know a whole lot about that at all. So I said, well, I'll just put the device every place that they said to put the device I put this stick.
And see what happens. Yeah.
And it works on muscle as well as actual bone tissue.
Well, that's really cool. So I think I'll get one, and I'll use it also for home defense.
Yeah, I mean, it's fiberglass, or it's something of that nature. It's like
looks pretty rigid, actually. Yeah, not just cheaply injection molded plastic, but it looks actually like you could really get some good leverage.
It's heavy duty ABS. And so one thing that I did, or I've done a lot of things on this, but the bottom of my feet were hurting. I used this end of it because I read that this end was really good because it was a hook end. So I would kind of put it down at my feet and put the end on it, and then I would pull into my foot. And then I would probably have to kind of like pull on the cord a little bit so it wouldn't like slide off a few times. That's why it was really helpful to have this extra kind of padding on it, because once I got it on there, I got it on there like this.
And then it would slide down a little.
Bring it right to the edge and kind of just let it slide and hold it.
You could almost have left just one membrane on one side of that stack, and it would have held it there, right?
And I've also thought about adding little sections here so that it won't fall down any farther. And I haven't done that yet, but I mean, there's no reason I'm going to push it down farther than this because I don't need it down here.
Well, I'm going to order one of these because this is something I would use.
It's an awesome thing. So this one works really good. I've noticed for my kneecap. And so if I'm sitting there and I just want to push it to the side of my knee, so I press into the side of my knee, and it's not a hook, but it doesn't need to be. And I can just kind of just lean up against it, and it works great. And so one good example is I slept bad a couple days ago. I woke up with some knee pain, also had some foot pain, and then sometimes it loops around to the hip. And so what I did was I couldn't figure out if the primary issue was that I had kind of balled up on my knees in the middle of the night, or if I had maybe had some sort of issue with my ankle. So what I did was I just decided to press into my knee. So I'd slide the coils over the little trigger point thing, and I would lean into the side of my kneecap. Then I would put it on the top of my kneecap, and then I would put it literally everywhere around my kneecap. Now, I've had emails from people, and I've had people ask me, well, how long do you do it? I guess it depends on how long it takes for the pain to go away. So that's the kicker. If you have pain and you press into it, or even if you don't have pain and you're just curious, is this area injured? I press into it with this level of pressure. So people have always asked also, how much pressure do you apply? Right. This much level of pressure. Not like, I'm not doing that level of pressure. I'm just pressing into it, that level of pressure. So it's, I'm just like trying to release a knot. Right. And if I don't feel pain in an area, but then I press into it without the device turned on, I still will not feel pain in the area, or very much. But if I press into it with the device turned on, it'll get hot white pain.
That is so interesting. I'm going to do some self-experiments here, because many acupuncturists have told me that the device used at acupuncture points and with acupuncture needles is much more effective. That's what they tell me. I don't know, but I'm not skeptical that it helps with acupressure. I actually, when I was in college, I took a therapeutic massage course, and you can really help people if you can find the knots in various places. But I bet you're right. And I'm gonna experiment to see what happens with me anyway.
Well, based on, I've talked about this before in previous videos, so I won't go into it, but based on having bought Dr. Roth's book about matrix repatterning, totally different mindset than just trigger point, because of the Harvard University or the Harvard medical tensegrity theory. Everyone should go read about that. There's a lot of information about it, but basically I go off the premise that that's correct. So in my mind, the premise of that theory is that the body is one single piece of fabric. I then also go off the premise that I learned from Jacob Teitelbaum about pain signaling, that pain is there to tell your body what is hurt. I've also gone off of the body priority from applied kinesiology, which is that your body knows what it wants to fix in the order that it wants to fix it. So if you try to fix another lesser injured area before you fix the primary area that's injured, you may not get a lot of good results. So you have to try to figure out, what was the greatest injury that I had and how long back was it? Have I fixed that issue? I need to find it and fix it first. Once I do that, then I can progress to the other ones. The other ones may hurt more because, according to tensegrity, they might be squashed and squished into a position that's very uncomfortable for that area of the body, because it's like the one piece of fabric. It's being pushed and pulled in different directions. So the end that's pushed up against the wall is going to hurt the most, but it's not actually where the greatest injury is. It's on the other side. So using those three theories, I kind of came up with this that's how I discovered this pressure thing, was I would say the biggest injuries that I have had, and I've been to osteopaths and chiropractors who've all said, you have an injury in your neck and your head and your lower back. And we know that they're connected, but we don't know which one caused the other. So your low back pain historically has been related to your neck pain. Your neck pain is related to your low back pain. And they would do their thing and they would release the pain, and it would go away for 3 months, and then it would come back. So what I discovered was, I remembered that I had a fall as a child, a very small child, and I hit my head. And I don't have any pain in my head. I don't notice any pain in my head. But I wondered, well, according to tensegrity, if the trauma hit my head, and there's a couple tensegrity doctors on YouTube who openly discuss helping people with traumatic head injuries, and that the trauma, or the blunt force trauma of that impact, causes energy, kind of like ballistic gelatin. You're able to see the travel of the energy. It causes energy to travel downward. So your head is suddenly going down, and it affects your neck. And then all that ripples down through your spine and affects the lower part. So I said, all right, well, let's start putting this on my head or my neck or my spine. And so I was pretty skeptical and careful at first, but and I still am. But what I began to do was I began to put this on my head and put it on volume 5 to 7, which I know 9 is what you recommend. So I said, I'm going to put even lower than that to start out with.
If you're doing something on your head, I would, I don't do that myself, but if if you do, I would recommend being careful, cautious.
Yeah, I don't go high up. There are people out there who do, and they seem okay, but I don't want to do that. So I'd rather longer.
As far as I can tell, there haven't been any really bad side effects, but nonetheless, you want to be really cautious, right?
It's like driving. I'm not going to start out driving 80 miles an hour. I'm going to, if I'm learning to drive, I'm going to start at a slow speed on a course that I'm not familiar with. And so I do that, and I take all the safety I can. So I'll kind of sit here like this, and I did that. The first time I did that was about the time we started doing videos, and I haven't discussed it on air yet, but I might have mentioned it. I might have mentioned it to him, to Dr. Dennis, and I might have mentioned to a couple of friends. One thing that I discovered with me personally was that apparently I have some sort of auditory, it's not actually auditory, but I have some sort of sound in my left ear that is akin to a blast. So if you'd like heard a fireworks went off or something like that, that kind of, not really a ring, but that just noise, I hear it in the left ear. It's very, very subtle, and I can only actually distinguish it when the room is completely quiet. So when people said, just be quiet, isn't that satisfying? For more years than I can remember, the sound of silence wasn't that quiet. So I never really liked it being quiet. And white noise was comfortable to me because it drowned out the noise. And but when I put it on my head, I'm pretty sure, and I'm learning as much as I can with the stuff that Dr. Timerdal posts, and I'm trying to read about brains, and I own a brain gauge, so I've been experimenting with that off and on, my usage of it. But I know when I take brain gauge, I have an issue in one specific area, and I do well in the other areas, but I have some problem in one area. And so I thought, well, every single time I take the test, I have an issue in that one area, and that doesn't go along with scores that are perfect or more normal. So I was like, well, it definitely shows that there's an issue of some kind. So I began placing it different places, probably 10 minutes, 15 minutes, different places. I probably do 15 minutes. And, the spots that I pick are the size of these little dots. So, I mean, that's the treatment area, if you will. So I'll put it here, and then I'll move over a little bit here, and then I'll move over a little bit here. And you can imagine 15 minutes each, it takes a long time. But if I press like right here and I have the device on and I don't feel anything at all, then from my experience in other areas of my body, that area is okay. So I move to another area until I find kind of like an achiness or like a neck ache level of pain. And then I'll press on it, and it hurts, but it hurts like it's a healing kind of hurting, like I've experienced in other parts of my body. And so I didn't finish this process, but I started the process and got really excited and then proceeded to fix other areas. But what happened was I pressed it on an area of the side of my head, I believe. It might have been the back of my head. And the sound, it was like I heard a distortion, like an audio distortion when you kind of like have a radio wave get near a speaker and it kind of like does that little wah, wah, wah kind of sound. I heard that in my left ear, and then the noise went, it was gone. I had no noise at all. And so I was just simply quiet. And I almost started to like tear up because I thought, oh my goodness, if this is silence, this is what I want to have. And it was that way for about 3 hours. And then something happened. It wasn't even a really big thing, but I got stressed out about something minor, and it returned. It wasn't any louder. It just had come back. And but I know that with the other areas of my body, nothing has come back. It's just I have to press in and hold for days sometimes. So I might have to press and hold on an area that hurts one evening for 4 hours, and then I might have to do it the next evening for 4 hours, and I might have to do it the next evening for 4 hours. And after 12 hours over 3 days, I have no more pain, no more issue. When I stand up, I can literally feel total restoration of mobility in a joint or anything, really. It doesn't matter what part of the body, a spinal, it could be anything.
I think that's awesome. And I based on what I know about, pressure points, I think it's likely that's exactly something that would generally happen with people,
Well, I should also mention, I'm not necessarily pushing against muscle. I'm pushing against bone most cases. Pressing against the actual bone.
Not the fleshy part, but sort of the bone close to the surface, like in your knee and your ankle.
So my knee, I mean, I'm trying to get as close to ground zero as possible for where it's maybe injured. I do push on the muscles because the muscles obviously are simply above some sort of bone structure. And so they're all connected, and the collagen matrix is apparently very electricity conductive. So
it's well known. It has been well known. It's expressed as something called Wolff's Law, that bone does respond to stress, mechanical stress, and that's how bone remodels. And you might be triggering a remodel of the bone with the mechanical pressure, and you might be facilitating it with PEMF.
And I definitely know that it works, because it doesn't work just for me. It works for my wife. It works for friends. It works for family members. I have a family member.
Well, I'm going to try it. I'm going to try it, and I'm going to try it for some issues that relate to sort of tendon pain and stuff like that, and it might be helpful. I'll talk to you about that, and then we could have another talk follow up on this. How's that sound? Because I think Dr. Tomerdal is going to come bursting through the door here any moment. So basically, did you have anything else you wanted to say?
No, I would just say, well, yeah, maybe one thing I'll say is that don't be stupid. When I say that I press into this and I do it with trigger points, the basic point is you're talking about the level of pressure that you use to release a trigger point. You're talking about the level of pressure that you would press your thumb into. If you're doing something where you're actually causing injury to your body, then you're not doing what I'm suggesting.
No, yeah, there's going to be somebody out there who gets a hydraulic jack and, well, I'm going to put pressure on,
Apply pressure because it's not working. Well, here's the other thing. It's not so much about how hard you press. It just seems to be that when you press, you focus the body's attention on the area that is injured. And then when you apply micropulse to that area that you're pressing, we're talking finger level pressure, but this also is just helpful because your hands get tired. So if you're applying finger level pressure with a device that allows you to not get fatigued, it's anti-fatigue related, and you put the micropulse, I would just say volume 9's fine. On areas below my waist, like, my knees and feet, I'll put it on like volume 13. But if I'm going to do like anywhere where my organs are, my head, I'm not going above 9. But if it's just like limbs we're talking about, I don't think, I feel different. It feels like it's too much energy flowing through my body when it's on the water-filled tissues. If it's on just like, I realize there's water in my legs and my arms, but when it's on the more bony tissues, I can crank it up and feel it doesn't bother me as much. But that's personal experience. And so,
well, this is the thing. Yeah, everybody's just got to be reasonable, right? And,
it's common sense. And when you use it, realize that the whole pain paradigm, you don't feel pain, so you try it on an area, then the pain kind of like rises to the surface, and you apply finger level pressure with an anti-fatigue device. Don't expect it to not be working because it doesn't go away in 15 minutes. What I'm saying is, if I banged my thumb on a drawer, I would probably spend 10 minutes to fix that issue, and then I would feel totally fine. But if I fell down and off of a bike when I was 13, I'm expecting it's going to take a little bit longer than 15 minutes. So it may take days. But once you actually do it, you're going to know right away, because suddenly, according to tensegrity, though the matrix of your body's soft and hard tissues have been kind of operating out of order, and then once you get the energy back in them, they're going to operate straightly, and you're going to know, wow, I can go run, or I can walk, and suddenly you feel like you have a new knee. And so that's that's the essence of what I have done. And it's simple, but don't be stupid.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's good advice, and I certainly will follow it, and I hope everybody else does too. So thanks for talking, Aaron, and hopefully we can get together again and on the internet here and have another conversation. Hopefully I'll be able to tell you how I respond to some of these ideas, because I'm going to do some self-experimenting here. All right, we'll see you later.
Yeah, thank you.